the information was so specific that intelligence agency, BSU agency, had given them the longitude and latitude of that ship. It was so specific. But the IB did not share this information with the Mumbai police and with the Western Naval Command, but during these 33 hours and 284 calls, there is not a single mention of the names Ajmal Kasab and Abu Ismail. Our intelligence agency IB had a specific information about this impending attack. They had this information, they had received this information on 18th of November 2008 through an American agency. And the information was so specific that intelligence agency, BSU agency, had given them the longitude and latitude of that ship. It was so specific. But the IB did not share this information with the Mumbai police and with the Western Naval Command, through which waters that ship was to pass. Instead, they passed this information on to some undesired elements and they arranged the parallel attack synchronizing with this attack. Karkare was investigating Malegaon bomb blast of 2008. That blast took place in September 2008. Before that, many bomb blasts had taken place throughout the country. But in all those bomb blasts, Muslims were arrested and charge-sheeted, and the whole Muslim community was demoralized while investigating into this offense. Karkare did not listen to the unfounded inputs sent by the intelligence agencies. He started investigation honestly and transparently and according to the laid down procedure. And he came across some such bizarre facts which led to exposing a nationwide anti-national conspiracy of Abhinav Bharat, a Brahminist organization, and others. While doing this investigation, Karkare also started looking into the investigation of other bomb blasts in which Muslims had been arrested. And to his surprise, he got to know that even earlier blasts were the handiwork of this group. So, these IB as well as Abhinav Bharat and other Brahminist terrorist groups, they got scared. On that day, 8 terrorists of Lashkar-e-Toiba, that is LET Pakistan, they came by sea to Mumbai, and they attacked three places: Taj, Oberoi and Nariman House, that is a Jew center. So they attacked these three places. Then there was one lady, fisherwoman, Anita Udaya. She had seen those 8 terrorists very clearly, and she was insistent that there were only 8 terrorists and not 10, as claimed by the police. But police did not make her a witness. Not only she was not made witness, but she was prosecuted for misguiding the police. So there are many such lapses during the investigation, and they were intentional. Some elements, native elements, assisted by the intelligence agency and a section of Mumbai police, they have a parallel attack in CST, Kama and Rangabhavan area, and where Hemant Karkare, the then chief of ATS Mahrashtra, was sent. To Karkare's vehicle came, they opened fire, and all others, including Karkare, were killed except one. That is the police theory. But if we see Karkare's postmortem report, the bullets in his body were fired from his neck downwards by a revolver, and even 2 of the bullets were found in his body. So, how come bullet found? Only in Karkare's body there were revolver bullets. In the bodies of rest of the people, they are AK-47 this thing. And they had also received 35 telephone numbers. Those telephone numbers were given to IB by RAW, and they had been planted in the LET by RAW through their informants. So they were getting the information of the locations via the US agency, and they had kept these mobile phones on surveillance. From 1 o'clock, they started recording the conversation between the terrorists and their handlers. And they recorded it for about 30 or 33 hours. During that period, there were as many as 284 calls between the terrorists and their handlers. But out of these 284 calls, there was not a single call from the terrorists of CST Kama Rangabhavan. The handlers were observing the movements of the other terrorists and also of the security forces, and they were giving directions to the terrorists, where are the security forces and where they should go, or they were cautioning them. And they were also telling them what other terrorist groups, those are in other places, that is in Oberoi and Nariman House, they were doing. So to these 3 groups, they were telling the information about the movements of the other terrorists in that area, and also about the movements of the security forces. While doing so, they were calling everybody by name and they were giving information, taking name of the other terrorists. But during these 33 hours and 284 calls, there is not a single mention of the names Ajmal Kasab and Abu Ismail, who were supposed to be from the same group and who were in the CST, Kama and Rangabon area. There was an internal inquiry as reported, I have stated in my books also. They had given information that when they found that there was a serious lapse on the part of IB in not informing the Mumbai police or not informing the Western Naval Command, a committee was constituted under the cabinet secretary, and that committee very promptly and honestly prepared a report and submitted to the government. In that report, they have mentioned that there was a serious lapse on the part of these agencies, and that part was intentional. But that report was not brought on record during investigation. The 3 laptops that Karkare recovered during the investigation, that laptops contained a lot of sensational information about the nationwide anti-national conspiracy, and that was mainly responsible for Karkare's killing. So these 3 laptops ought to have been taken over by the investigating agency and inquired into it, but they were not taken over or investigated. Karkare's own mobile phone, because when this happened, Karkare was at his residence. Somebody called him on his mobile and called him to a specific place. And then after that, if we see the TV footage of Karkare during that period, constantly speaking to somebody, that means somebody was giving him instructions constantly. Had that mobile been recovered or investigated, the investigation agency would have come to know who were the officers who called him to that place and who were constantly giving them instructions. The 2 terrorists in the CST were being chased. So they dropped their 2 mobiles and they ran away. So when preliminary investigation was done, they were found to belong to 2 persons from Satara. In fact, they should have been investigated thoroughly, but they were not investigated. There was information which appeared in important newspapers like Times of India that the terrorists in the Kama hospital were speaking fluent Marathi. But that issue was also not gone into deep.